Hello from Cheltenham, where the wait is almost over. Only a few hours to go before the Stan James Supreme Novices Hurdle gets underway, and with it the 2011 Cheltenham Festival. The racegoers may not be here yet, but some of the horses are. A little earlier on Monday we caught up with Jessica Harrington's team out on the track. That's Boston's Angel, RSA Chase Hope on the far side. This is what's coming up on day one then. Feature race the Stan James Champion Hurdle, due off at 3:20. And coming up on the show, some of the post's top tipsters will be guiding you through this cracking first day of action. So Champion Hurdle, the big one, and here to look ahead to it I've been joined by Ed Quigley and Lee Mottershead. No binocular in the race, but still a cracking event in prospect, Lee, and Minora just shading favouritism at the moment.
He is, and I think justifiably so. Speaking to Richard Johnson quite a lot recently, and he, I think, summed it up when he says there is nothing not to like about him. He's immensely solid, got ticks in all the boxes, to use that horrible phrase. Twice, of course, on here this season, won the Supreme last season, always runs his race. It will take a very good horse to beat him, but it is a very good Champion Hurdle.
Yeah, and we've not seen him since December, Ed. Would that be a concern for you?
Not overly, no, particularly because he's going to be racing here on spring ground, which I think the ground is essential to that horse. In anything he's done on tacky ground during the winter, he's always going to improve on this type of surface. Showed that last year. It was rattling quick on the first day, and got the best to get me out of here. And no, I think he's a solid favourite, and I'm very, very keen on him. So.
Well, what about the second favourite, Hurricane Fly? The Irish seem pretty keen on that one.
Well, call me controversial, but I'm looking for the place lay button on this one. I just cannot justify backing a horse at around 3-1 mark to win a Grade 1 in England when he's never set foot on these shores. I always love course form. Compare Minora 3 from 3 at the course to Hurricane Fly, never even been here. This is possibly going to be the quickest ground he's faced as well, in a bigger field and a quicker run race. I'm finding a lot more negatives in the Hurricane Fly camp than I am positives, so on price grounds alone I'd have to take him on.
Okay, so a place lay for Hurricane Fly for Ed. Lee, is Pedlar's Cross the main danger to Minora?
Yeah, I think he probably will be. I think Pedlar's Cross, again like Minora, is a very solid horse. People are knocking him, saying he won't have the pace for a Champion Hurdle, and saying he got that pace going down the hill last season, the 2 mile 5 novice hurdle. But the thing that Donald McCain has always said about him is he has so much toe, and in a strongly run race, I think that will really play to his strengths. Just going back to Hurricane Fly, I think a key thing with him, if you're backing him in running as well, is that this final flight position, if Luciano cameraman just points towards the final flight there behind us, as last season, the run from that final flight to the winning post is very short. Ruby will be sat holding Hurricane Fly in a dream scenario going to the final flight. You make a mistake at a final flight when it is that close to the winning post, it can be curtained. So really exciting if you're backing Hurricane Fly, but I think just compared to him, Minora just looks so straightforward.
Okay, well, looking at those at bigger prices, we've got Kyber Kim, second in the race last year. Dunguib, could that one bounce back to form?
I cannot have Dunguib on this ground, and I think he's woefully underpriced. If you're going to compare him to Oscar Whiskey, as you mentioned, Oscar Whiskey would be giving him £16 in a handicap, and yet they're trading around a similar price in the market. Dunguib, well, from my eyes, the worst jumper of the two, and is yet to prove it on spring ground. So, no, just quickly going back to what Lee was saying about Pedlar's Cross, though, he's been mooted that he looks very one-paced, and that stepping up in trip perhaps is better than going down in trip. But remember, Hardy Eustace and Isterbrack both went over 2.5 miles in their novice campaign. So having stamina is never a problem when you come to Cheltenham. You need to get up that hill, and that sorts the men from the boys, to call it an old cliche. So no, I just don't think Pedlar's has that exuberance to win a Champion Hurdle, but I don't see him out of the 3.
Okay, well guys, I'm going to get your selections in just a moment. First though, let's hear what Alistair Down fancies in the big race.
Champion Hurdle, well, I was a Minora man long before Binoculars' eve of race defection, and so I'm even stronger with Philip Hobbs's now. He to me, is the horse who's been a revelation this year. He was no mean horse last year, of course, when he won the Supreme, but I just think there's been an extra dimension to him. When he beat Bothy in the Greatwood Hurdle here in the autumn, Bothy had been laid out for that since August and has gone on since, got chinned about a short head in the Tote Sport Trophy off a £9 higher mark. That's just pure franking of the form. And of course, when Minora came up against the much vaunted Q Card, who is, you know, hugely useful, no doubt about it, he kicked Q Card out the way completely. Q Card was tanking from the second last. Minora was switched out out by Dickie Johnson, went past him, left him cold, beat him 4.5 lengths. He's run here 3 times, he's won here 3 times. He loves the place, and Philip Hobbs has had a real clear run in with this horse. Did a fabulous piece of work at Exeter the other day with Snap Tie, their county hurdle hope. For me, it's Menora. Pedlar's Cross, the main danger, obviously enough, and Dungib, a horse people have given up on. I was with him big for the bumper 2 years ago. Couldn't touch it with a barge pole in the Supreme last year, but he's lurking out at backable prices, and I suspect he may run a blinder.
So Alistair pretty keen on Menora, and I think Lee and Ed are as well. Ed, your selection?
It would definitely have to be Menora. 3 from 3 at the course. Loves spring ground. Richie Johnson's comparing him to Rooster Booster. That's good enough for me. I fancied him before Binocular pulled out. I still fancy him now, and no, worthy favourite, and I think he'll take all the beating. There's an each-way alternative. I think Oscar Whiskey, Henderson loves this race. Punjabi showed a couple of years ago the underdog can often spring a surprise, and given he's the 3rd highest rated horse in the field on official ratings, it may have been slightly overlooked. So that would be the 1-2. Pedlar's Cross comes 3rd, and Hurricane Fly blows out.
Okay, and Lee, for you?
Yeah, I think each way Khyber Kim is very solid. Look at last year's race, has to be banged there. But like Ed, like Alistair, you know, Menora, he's followed the Rooster Booster journey to Cheltenham, having won the Great Wood and the International Hurdle, and I think, like Rooster Booster, his season will end with victory in the Stan James Champion Hurdle. Hope so.
Okay, well, more from Lee and Ed in just a moment. First, though, let's hear from the couch.
Andy Stewart has sponsored the Spinal Researchers Handicap Chase, run at Cheltenham on Tuesday over 3 miles, 1 furlong. And one horse I know has been laid out for this and as well handicapped is Rev de Savola. Won very, very well at this meeting last year, trained by Mick Williams, and I know they've done lots and lots of work on his schooling with Daryl Jacob at home, keeping an eye on that creature. Also John Joe O'Neill, Sunny Hill boy, I've been told this has been plotted up for it. I think he'll be on the premises. But the horse I like most of all in this race is Great Endeavour. Won last year, won the Byrne Brothers 2 mile 4 handicap chase. The interesting David Pike give this horse a Gold Cup entry. Thinks it's well handicapped, must have decent ground. Owned by David Johnson, of course, is very good friends with my mate Andy Stewart, who sponsors this race. And I think Great Endeavour is one of the old Pipe handicap plots. When you look at the handicaps at Cheltenham, the first name you look for is Pipe. I'm with Great Endeavour, ladies and gentlemen. Are you with me or against?
Well, the first big chase of the Cheltenham Festival is the Arkle, and Lee, Captain Chris, a surprise name among the declarations.
Yeah, to a degree. We thought he was going to go for the Deuce, but they've decided, Philip Hobbs and the Whateleys, the owners, to go for the Arkle. I think rightly so. He was only half a length behind Medamit at Sandown in the Silly Arch. He's 3 times the price. He probably shouldn't be.
And Ed, Medamit and Gazeo both beaten Captain Chris already this season. Could you see him reversing the form at Cheltenham?
I can do on the count of the ground again. I think good ground's what this horse has been wanting all season. Richard Johnson has echoed that, so has the trainer. Again, I think the ground will be key in trying to turn around any form. On the negative side is he has shaped like a 2.5 miler in many respects, the way he was eating away at Medamit over 2.5 miles. A drop to 2, would that put a bit too much pressure on his jumping, I'm not sure, but Arkle winners have often stayed a bit further. I don't necessarily see it as negative, and he could be a good each-way value call in this, I think. So.
And I know you were keen on Finian's Rainbow earlier in the season. Has the price gone on that one?
Well, there is obviously talking through my pocket, but when you're on it 40 to 1, you have to stay with it. But if you said to me, are you going to back it at 4 to 1 on good ground, I'd say no, not at all. The last, the Kingmaker at Warwick was a jumping experiment from all accounts. They tried to drop him in, practicing in the hustle and bustle of being surrounded by horses. The horse hated it, so they basically said, right, we're going to go off and jump for fun in front, and Barry Geraghty's going to say, come and catch me. Whether you know anything will go past it is a different matter. Just on the value grounds now, 4 to 1 probably is a tad too short on what he actually has achieved. So.
Okay, so too short for that one. Lee, anything appealing for you?
I think one that is interesting at a big price is Dan Breen, if only because David Pike's putting headgear on for the first time. The Pipe stable, David and his old man Martin, have a fantastic record when applying headgear to horses first time. When they do that, they very often do it for a reason, and they very often come out smiling. So he'd be interesting. But I think Captain Chris, for me is a very strong each way bet, but the Medimit camp, Alan King in particular, are immensely bullish. And if Ed's right and they go the clappers on Finian's Rainbow, they'll set up for a horse like Medimit. He'll travel through the race, he'll come there cruising, and he could just be too classy for them.
Okay, so selection time for you, Lee.
Just about Medimit.
And Ed?
Okay, I do really respect Medimit. We haven't mentioned Gazelle much, really.
Yeah.
Timmy Murphy did say we're going to need a soft ground Arkle as soon as you got off him last time. Well, as you can see, that's not going to happen. So I really do respect Medimit's chances. I want Finian's Rainbow to win, but at the current prices, I think around the 8-9 to 1 mark, Capsy Chris is as solid each way bet as you'll find all day.
Okay, well, thanks, chaps. It could be a good day for the Irish, so let's hear now from our Ireland correspondent, Jess Lamb.
Ireland brings one of their strongest teams to day one of the festival, and in it included Dungwib, last year's Supreme Novices favourite. Now, he has only been seen once this year, but he did nothing wrong and holds a key form line with Menorah in the champion hurdle. Hurricane Fly is our star in that race, though. We didn't see him here in his novice year because injury kept him away, but luckily we get to see him this year. He's beaten everything in Ireland soundly, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot he can't beat. But we have no strong form lines to suggest that he can beat Menorah or the best of the English. I think he's the best bet for Ireland on day one. But then you have Cevega in the second last race, and she is an absolutely superb mare. She won it last year, she won it the year before, and she only has Sparky May to deal with this year. Sparky May beat Carol's Legacy the last day almost as easily as Cevega beat her in the David Nicholson last year. But I think Cevega still shades it. It wouldn't be an Irish segment on the Cheltenham Festival if we didn't talk about the cross-country race, which Ireland have pretty much ruled supreme in. Last year, a new Story took it, and he's back for more this year. But the cross-country king Enda Bolger fields 4 in Lamy, Freeney's Well, Gard Champetre and King John's Castle. So plenty of opportunities for Ireland to steal a lead on day one, but I think Cevega is the best of them.
Well, the Supreme Novices provides a cracking start to the day and indeed the festival. And Ed, hot favourite here in Q Card. The only time he's been beaten is by Menorah, and you fancy that one for the champion hurdle?
Yes, I'm strongly hoping Q Card's not tailed off as they go into the home straight. No. I've been speaking to a lot of people who totally disagree with me, but I actually think he's an absolutely fantastic price for a favourite at around the 2-1-9 to 4 mark. Me and Lee were talking about this before we came on air, and the comparison to Dungwib last year. On official ratings, Dungwib was a £3 worse horse, was unproven over course of distance over hurdles, was yet to crack it on good ground, having an amateur jockey on board, and didn't jump as well, and yet he went off odds on. To me, I think it's a great price at 2-1. From a personal point of view, being a long shot kind of a punter, last thing I want to do is get stuck into a favourite in the first race. If you said to me you're going to have a large bet on Q Card, I'd say well, best of luck to you, because I think he's a solid, very worthy favourite.
Okay, well, Lee, Ed putting up a good case for Q Card, but the opposition's pretty strong. I mean, just Nicky Henderson's got Spirit Sun, Sprinter Sacre and Gib River, all go there with good chances.
No, you're right, it is a sensational Supreme Novices hurdle, superb start to the meeting. Both those, well, certainly Sprinter Sacre and Spirit Sun look like it could be anything. They've been wildly impressive when winning their races. Recession-proof on a Tote Sport trophy. At the start of the winter, Zaidpur looked like it could be a world beater. That's just naming a few of them. But, as Ed says, make the comparison between Q Card this season and Dungwib last season. Dungwib won a few Mickey Mouse races in Ireland. Q Card hosed up here in a good race in the autumn. Last time behind Menorah, he came here having not been able to be trained as Colin had wanted because of the winter. 9 of 4, 5 2. You might even get bigger on course. I think people are basically being tizzardis. They can't see the Tizzards winning a Supreme Novice hurdle, but why not? They've got the best horse in the race. The way he travels is just wonderful to watch. I think he'll win, and even though it's a sensational Supreme, he could win it well.
Okay, so selections then, Q Card for both of you?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, Q Card for these two. Let's see what a few of our other tipsters fancy on the opening day, starting with Steve Mason, our RPR guru.
On day one, I'm going to the Supreme Novices Hurdle, the first race on the card. It's not actually the top-rated horse, which is Q Card, which has got an excellent chance of winning. I'm going for the second top-rated, which is called Spirit Sun, trained by Nicky Henderson. It's got a level of form which would be good enough to win all bar 2 of the last 10 run-ins of the race and be in the frame in any of the last 20 run-ins. And at 6 or 7 to 1, it looks a good each-way alternative to the favourite.
Right, I'm supposed to be doing a daily tip called Wally's Whispers. Well, I'm going to shout one like a clarion call from the top of the grandstands. The horse to follow tomorrow is a horse called Great Endeavour, which runs in the Andy Stewart Spinal Research Handicap Chase 240. Don't miss this horse, I promise you. We came unstuck, or I came unstuck with the same combination last year. A David Johnson horse trained by David Pipe, just got caught on the post, beaten a short ahead. This time, this horse will definitely go part one better, called Great Endeavour. Why do you say Great Endeavour? Well, why am I saying Great Endeavour? The simple reason is this horse has been working so well. The ground to me has come right. DJ, a great friend of mine, always has plenty of winners at the Cheltenham Festival. 7 to 1. Do not miss this horse.
Well, that's almost all for today. There's got to be a few winners in there. Up on your screen at the moment are the guys' selections. And remember, see anything you like. If you're watching this on your phone, you can bet direct with William Hill using our app. And if you're on racingpost.com, you can bet direct with all the major bookmakers straight from our site. Just time now to leave you with our betting editor, Paul Keeley, and his best bet on Tuesday.
The best bet of day one of the Cheltenham Festival, I'm going steaming into the first race with Spirit Sun, a horse of Nicky Henderson's who's got immense potential. He slammed a horse of Paul Nicholls called Cedra Bleu at Exeter last time, giving £12 and beating him 21 lengths. That's decent form, top quality for this sort of race, and he's expected to be better on fast ground as well. I think he's got a real shot at overturning the favourite Q card and setting us up for the day.